Yeah, there. Ha. It was this had gotten bumped when we set it by your legs. There.
Okay, so were we not talking?
I don't think anybody could hear us, so it probably sounded like a little muffle. So, hi.
Okay, anyway, I'm Cherie.
And I'm Chris.
And we're supposed to be technology-enabled nomads.
But we
Sometimes the technology is an enabler.
and we don't have a production assistant, so we can't look at the camera, look here, look there, and you choose everything. Every single time we try to do a live, it's like, really? They moved the button? They did this? They changed their...
Time zones. Oh my gosh. Trying to set this thing up. YouTube Live no longer tells you what time zone you're setting it up for. And we found out our own Google time zone was wrong. So, it took us forever to figure out how to even schedule this stupid thing.
So for whatever reason, Google thought that our AT&T IP address, which routes out in Houston, was in Ottawa, Canada. And I was wondering, like the other day, I was like, why am I getting all this Canadian election news? This seems like an unusual focus on local elections in Canada and Google News. And, well, now I realize that they were putting us in the wrong time zone in the wrong country.
So the funds of travel, and we have gotten so used to, for the last really 2.5 years or so, we have been East Coast based. And we got so used to just Eastern time zone for everything. And for the last couple of months, we have been in Central time zone. So anyway, a recap here. Longtime viewers probably recognize.
We're in a bus.
We're back in the bus. So really quick recap, because we have a lot of viewers who are newer to the channel and might know us as boaters. And maybe if you just discovered us in our van life, you're going,
Hashtag van life, why they got a bus?
What is this with a bus too? So Chris and I started full-time RVing back in 2006.
And then we were trailer dwellers.
Yes, we did super tiny, small trailers. And after 4 years of full-time travel in super tiny trailers, when I'm talking teardrop and fiberglass egg, 17 feet, we decided we wanted something larger. So we got turned on to vintage buses by a friend of ours, Ben and Karen of the Creative Cruiser. He had just bought a bus and was converting it, and we really learned about the benefits of vintage buses, and we decided that's what we wanted next.
Yeah, vintage buses are beautiful, unique, amazing, quirky machines. Ours is a 1961. It was built like a tank. It's actually using the same engine that a lot of tanks of the era used, and it was designed to carry 41 people, and it was the pinnacle of 1961 technology. And they didn't, back then, they didn't...
So we're getting complaints about the volume being too low.
Too low. Well, I could crank this up a little higher and a little higher on here. Hello? Is it better?
Oh, hopefully it is. Anyway, continue.
So we
I hate lives.
Why do we do them?
Well,
they're fun.
The lives used to be the easiest thing. Now they've become more difficult to do than a produced video.
So I'll take our names off. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Hopefully you can hear us. I can't see the chat room barely. So I'll bring this up here. There. Still not very loud. This has got to be better. That's as max as the microphone will go. Okay, well, it's 2 minutes of tape delay, so hopefully in 2 minutes you'll say, hey, it's plenty loud.
Mm-hmm. Okay, people are saying better. Just go.
Good. So yeah, vintage buses, they're amazing. They're built like tanks, and they were built before they really had a concept of when things are going to wear out and die and warranties and stuff, because modern buses are built for about a 30-year service life, and well, we're pushing...
This bus now is 58 years old. So Zephyr is a 1961 GM 4106. And there's a link in the description to this video for a full tour of Zephyr, is the name of our bus, is what we named it. We found her in summer of 2011 in Yuma, Arizona, when it was like 120 degrees. It was really frickin' hot out there. And it was already converted to an RV. And then we've been reconverting it over the years. And we lived in full time in the bus until 2017, which is when we purchased our boat. Why not? To start cruising and eventually doing the Great Loop.
And our general plan was when we bought the boat, even when we were hunting for a boat, is that we'd have a boat as our East Coast base, and we get the bus. We actually have an RV lot out in Benson, Arizona, so we get our bus out west, and then go between them. So it was like, as the boating season, as we head north and as there's winters and stuff, we would spend the winters on the bus and the summers on the boat and have the blah, blah, blah. But we put the bus in storage thinking we'd be back to it in 6 months. This is over a year and a half ago.
Right. So we were speakers at the RV Entrepreneur Summit back in 2018, which was held, I believe, at the end of February. So we did a trip in the bus out to Texas, and we decided to leave it in storage here in the Austin area, which is where we currently are. And then we thought we were going to come back that winter because it's always been the intention that we'll RV in winters and boat in springs and summers. Because eventually we'll get north where it gets cold.
Right. And so we put the bus in storage and we thought, okay, we'll be back that winter. So we didn't put a ton of effort into like mothballing it for long-term storage because, well, we did put some biocide in the tanks and left them full and, power demos things, but we got an indoor enclosed storage lot where we could leave it plugged in, and thought, things would be fine. It's only 6 months, but we got kind of hooked on boating.
And we ended up last winter in Sanford, Florida, which was amazing. Hi, Sabina and Eckert. Love you guys. Part of the amazing reason down there. And found a fantastic marina downtown. And, we thought we were just going to store there. But we just loved life in Sanford and loved life just living
on the boat
downtown on a boat.
And we were still just the boat was still relatively new to us, and we were just really enjoying settling into that bigger home and just the difference, the variety of it all. So we're like, maybe we don't need to go take the bus out, because we knew the bus needed immediately to even get it out of storage. We need new tires. We need to get it caught up on maintenance. So we're like, oh, let's just push it off a year. And so our bus sat for a year and a half in storage.
Now, one reason we chose Austin is that's where my brother lives. So the storage lot that we had was nearby him, so he was able to go in and check on it. Yes. So, and my mother would travel out there. I'm sure my mom's out there tonight too. So when she traveled out to see my brother, she'd give us video tours of it. So we had virtual check-ins with Zephyr. But something happened last spring.
Yeah, last spring. So we made it a full year. And then there was a power outage. I guess some sort of major storm hit Austin. We don't even really know specifically what it was, but the power went out. Which is not a big deal. We actually have big battery banks and everything else. But we had left the fridge on. So we had a pretty high draw, and we're in closed storage, so no solar. And the power was out for at least a couple days. And then that got the batteries drained to the point where they hit their emergency alarm shut-off point.
Just a reminder, our batteries on the bus are GBS cells. They're lithium ion phosphate cells that we installed in 2011. We have one of the very first lithium RV installations.
Yes. And so things are a lot better. People have learned a lot since then. But the BMS that we have, it was designed to basically pull the plug on the batteries if the power got too low on the batteries, and it wouldn't reconnect them unless you did a manual reset. So at some point the power came back on, but because the batteries had basically disconnected the entire electrical system, the fridge didn't come back on, the batteries didn't charge back up. None of this really happened. But we're like, okay. And then just scheduling conflicts. Her brother wasn't able to get out and try and reset it for us for actually several months just because of the way things lined up. And to reset it, you had to it was a real hassle to even get in to reset because you have to crawl into the bay when you can only open the doors this much. And really anyway, it didn't reset. And so we kind of knew coming back here to Austin that the batteries might have reached their not just cutoff point, but dead point, having sat so long. And indeed, that was the case. So we had to get the bus out of storage, the jury rig a new electrical system temporarily until we do new lithiums, because the other ones are indeed dead.
I think they lasted us
8 years.
Well, 7 years in actual use.
Yes.
Which is a good run because we had a lot of learning curve. If you go back and look on our history with the lithium, we learned a lot about lithium and properly using them as a house battery bank, which hopefully a lot of people have been able to learn from and avoid some of the initial capacity loss.
And actually, I think new EMSs are also a lot smarter about being easier to reset, auto resetting. And I think what the ultimate killer on this is that the little battery balancing modules on each cell of the battery, still have a small draw even when the battery is disconnected, the way this EMS was designed. And so it pulls the plug, and it's protecting the battery, but not necessarily protecting it from being unplugged for another 6 or 8 months. And so, indeed, the batteries were actually reading under 2 volts when we got to them.
And we spoke with Elite Power System, which is where we bought the cells from back in 2011. And they advised, if you try to charge them up, don't do it while in the bus. There's really a high potential for thermal runaway because...
not so much the batteries could just internally short, and it's just not a good idea. They're lithium iron phosphate, nothing bad probably will happen other than maybe a little sizzling smell, but you definitely don't want that inside your bus just in case. So we're not going to try and charge them. We've routed around them.
That was the biggest issue with them, and we knew that coming in that to expect that. And they were 8 years old. I mean, we were already looking at if we're going to do lots of boondocking, we'd already had a lot of capacity loss that was unanticipated. So we were already looking at replacing the bank anyway. So it wasn't a huge...
They forced the issue for us.
Yeah.
But actually, well, no, because we've got two big... We had to buy new starter batteries as well. The starter batteries on the bus were all... We kind of expected they'd be end of life, and indeed, they were low and just didn't feel worth it to charge them. So we got two new 4D batteries. And right now, we've got the starter and the house batteries doing double duty, and we're just carefully managing our electric so that we don't drain the starter batteries.
We're going to be on power hookups.
And the solar's working again.
The solar is working.
Yeah.
We're just gonna use power hookups for any stops that we do
until we get our new lithium set, which we'll talk about in the future.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully we were gonna do it this month, but we got some family stuff up that might have us needing to jet away. So we'll probably handle that before we go out doing desert boondocking, because we do want the lithium for boondocking.
Yes.
Anyway, so that was the kind of the biggest thing. When we got back to the bus, it was indoor storage, so there really wasn't a lot to deal with other than getting...
Not too many cobwebs.
No, there were some cobwebs, but not too many.
There was the fridge. The fridge had sat for 8 months we hadn't cleaned it out, and it had been cold, and then it got roasty hot. And...
Right, yeah. We anticipated that we were going to power to the fridge, so we didn't clean it out. We thought we'd just run it.
And we thought it was only be 6 months. We didn't think how much all those condiments would expire after a year and a half, so...
Yeah, it wasn't worth running it anyway. So yeah, and you have to also keep in mind, when we put the bus in storage...
We were sick.
We were both very sick. We had come down with some conference crud after the RV Entrepreneur Summit, probably compounded by allergies in the area. And it took us about 2 solid weeks to recover from whatever we caught.
Yes.
And we were like so low on energy, and we put the bus in storage.
We put the bus in storage. We put biocide in the tanks. We're like, we'll be back in 6 months. We'll deal with it later.
So yeah, the fridge was scary. Did you get the video?
I didn't get it exported because I was worrying about the more important video, the little teaser there.
Okay, so we will actually do a video on
what we saw.
With the video on what we saw and the preps of what we did to get Zephyr back on the road. Right. So once we got the starter batteries in, we did drive her down. The engine started right up. No
started on the first crank. That was a beautiful sound to hear. Those Detroit diesels, they just love to run, and that was fabulous.
And then we found a local truck shop down just south of Austin.
AR&W trucks, and I was impressed by them. So yeah, if you go to them, they're in Kyle, Texas.
They mainly focus on heavy duty trucks. They're not really
They actually have a whole RV side of their business too. So they are a place for RV emergency service if you need them.
Not RV systems, though. They don't do RV systems. No. They do engines, chassis. Things like that, but they were great. We spoke with them in advance, and they were excited to work on a vintage bus. They had a Detroit diesel specialist who still knew how to do something.
He had worked on Detroit diesels in the Army, so yes.
Yep. When they immediately said, Zephyr needed a full oil change. We knew that she needed oil change. We needed new tires. The tires were 8 years old. We did not want to ride on them any longer. And
actually, one of the more challenging things we knew we needed was a muffler needed to be either welded or replaced, because this had happened right before we put it in storage. It was one of the other reasons we were like, if we have to go back to Zephyr, we got to deal with this muffler. The muffler had kind of cracked, broken free from its mount, and was actually hanging into the radiator fan, so it would make a hell of a racket if it was on. And so I had actually jury-rigged bungee cords and tape to hold the muffler in place until we got someplace that they were able to replace it and deal with that. So bus stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, we have now been back in Zephyr. This will be our 4th evening back aboard.
It's only 4? Wow.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable.
It is. We had a lot of questions coming in. Would we keep... Is it going to be practical to have a boat, a van, because we have the van conversion now that we used to get between them, and the bus? And especially coming out of a 3-month trip in the van, being so incredibly comfortable, which we did a video on just last week. Was the bus going to still...
Feel worth it.
Feel
like
worth
home
it.
And
I tell you, immediately getting back aboard. There is no question in my mind. This bus is ours.
Sheree was giddy. She was like, "Oh, I miss my bus. I love my bus." And it is indeed. It once we got it out of Austin traffic and it's driving out. We're a little bit west of Austin now, heading back to where the bus belongs in the desert Southwest, and driving it on the big roads. It's a joy to drive. And then Sheree, this was another thing. It's like, will Sheree be comfortable convoying, because the bus can't tow the van.
And the van can't be towed.
So how was it?
So many of you have been along for a while. No, I don't like to drive. I love driving the boat. The boat is a joy. It's just peaceful and awesome. Driving in traffic is a huge stressor to me. Right. I intentionally had a career where I could work at home, didn't have to commute.
Your commute was 10 steps, yes.
So driving has never been something that I've enjoyed. But when we did the hurricane evacuation from Irma, we borrowed Randy's truck. And
F-150, yes.
It was a Ford F-150. And actually being in something large where I didn't feel like I could be squished like I could in the Mini Cooper.
Right.
Um,
You enjoy driving that more than
I
the
enjoyed
Mini
it.
Cooper.
And we this last week with the van, we also put new tires on the van. They were at like almost 33,000 miles, coming up on 4 years old, and there had been lots of reports in the Travada owners forum of the OEM tires starting to have issues around
that age.
So it's like, you know what, I don't want that risk.
And so we'll get better tires, and we also got Sumo springs, which are kind of a shock addition that stiffens the suspension on the Travado, and it takes it from kind of.
Right. The van was a bit of a rough ride. I'm
particularly in traffic and on turns and in wind and stuff and hitting speed bumps
and Austin roads, which are horrible. Oh,
Texas is not keeping up with their highways.
Texas.
Austin.
Texas. Most roads in Texas are amazing.
But
Austin's roads have gone to pot.
I don't know what's up with that city.
It's like
it's almost all those heavy construction vehicles because they're building so many suburbs that the roads, they haven't repaved the roads yet, so it's torn up. But anyway. So one of the concerns we had, and this was actually a big one, was would Cherie be comfortable driving the van? And particularly once we got the new shocks and springs on, the shocks and tires, boom, she loved it.
It was a very comfortable ride for us to where we are now. It was about a 80 mile drive.
80 miles.
And it was extremely comfortable for me to handle. So I think we're going to be good with this.
Yes.
So we'll see how it goes long term. But, I mean, there was a in the potential outcomes of this next RVing season was putting Zephyr up for sale this spring, and it would have to take a mighty attractive offer for us to even consider it.
Yeah, because it's just getting back aboard. It's like everything there's so much about this that we did ourselves and worked on, and it's just such a comfortable space. We think it's like the perfect size for an RV for us. It's 35 feet long, no slides. Great layout, awesome double deck office, a great kitchen, a wonderful shower. It's been great to have having lived in a van for the last several months, it's been great to have a big giant shower again.
Have large holding tanks where we can actually use the water, not have to empty the tanks in the morning.
So loving being back in a bus.
And I love the van, and I love the boat.
So now we've got 3 houses we love.
So we're gonna keep our nomadic fleet. And Kiki's gonna be admiral.
Kiki is the admiral of the fleet, and she's been loving it. She actually, her favorite feature in the bus, and she was really upset that it took us a couple days to sanitize the water system, is she loves the little fresh water dispenser that dribbles water in her mouth. And as soon as she's on the bus, she was up there pushing against it.
Please dribble water in my mouth. I've got
I remember
this for 2 years.
I remember this. Please dribble the water. I love it. And we didn't want to do that till we did the full sanitization process. So once we finally did that for her last night, she was so happy.
So, anyway, we really don't have much to present on this evening other than just sharing with you that we're back on the bus.
Yay.
So, if you have questions about nomadic life, about boat life, van life,
bus life,
the transition, whatever.
How they all compare.
We're happy to answer questions and hang out for a bit this evening. See if I can...
And didn't we have a special bottle of wine that we wanted to share this celebratory evening with all of you?
Yes. Oh, stupid computers and their... stupid passwords.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've got the chats here. I can highlight any that come up if we need to. I saw Sabina Necker R&D here. I saw your mom is here.
And I saw Joe is here. Hi, Joe.
Joe's here.
We just missing Joe here in Texas. He was like 100 miles away.
We crossed in different paths, and then there was bad weather, and So Joe, hey, waving, missed you.
We'll see you at our village rally, maybe.
Yes.
Because we're not. Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, we'll probably be at our village rally, but next big stop. Looking forward to getting our bus out in the desert, out west. Tom says that we're his heroes. Oh, thank you, Tom.
Thank you. We had a very comical comment to our Travado video the other day. Basically, the guy said, I'm assuming it's a guy. It could have been a girl. I don't know. But it said, you have a van, a boat, and a bus.
You're not very representative of normal life.
Or of average people. I'm like, I don't know about you.
I don't aspire to be average.
Average isn't something I've ever aspired to be. So I'm very happy that we don't represent average. But we do hope that you can see that we are not extraordinary people. I mean, it's not like...
And nothing that we're doing is anything that is that is unattainable. You know, it's like our three houses, our three vehicles combined cost less than some of those dinky little condos they were constructing across from McKinney Falls State Park. While we were driving around Austin, I mean, we were seeing these signs, new condos starting at $280 for teeny little boxy things with no yards, and all our houses, you can add them up and be under that. So
right, but neither. I mean, you and I, we both grew up with great families. That was a huge benefit.
Mm-hmm.
We have a good start in life by having a good foundation.
We got very lucky.
Very, very blessed with that. But we didn't start out as rich kids. Neither of us has trust funds. Neither of us are.
No.
We built our own careers. We've done well, but what we've done isn't something that anybody else can't do.
Yeah. No, everybody's circumstances are different, but it's like, we hope to inspire people. It's like, hey, you just think differently. You don't have to follow the formulas. You don't have to follow the average predictable path, and find whatever path works for you. Don't copy us. Don't do the same things we're doing. Find your own unique path, and don't be on that average formula direction.
So, yeah, that was an interesting comment. It really caused me to think. We shared it on Facebook and Instagram, and it had some great discussions there. But yeah. Anyway, so should we go ahead and open the wine?
Open the wine and see how many. We probably won't scroll back for questions just because it's hard to do. So if you've asked a question we didn't see it yet, starting right about now, we might see it and be able to highlight it. I think there's super chat is turned on if you want to make sure we see your question. That is one way to do that.
We don't do these for money at all.
But we appreciate it.
We appreciate the contribution to our wine fund.
Speaking of contribution to the wine fund, that's the story behind this bottle.
Yes, this is
okay. Very special bottle.
So, when we got to Sanford last year, one of our fans, Mel and Linda, who might be watching this as well, they're preparing to hit the road in a bus and a boat. And they live in Paso Robles area of California.
And they have a hookup with some wineries.
So they sent us, I think, 8 bottles of really good wine.
Best care package we've ever got. It was like, oh wow.
Yes, once they know, you have a shipping address. Would you mind sharing it with me? I'll send you something special. And so this shows up, and this is the last remaining bottle of that shipment. So we have kept this for almost a year now. Now that if you know us, we love wine. Mm-hmm. That's something. But this is
partly it was because it was locked up.
He put it in this special wine lock. So we took this off the boat, got it unlocked the night before we left the boat, and we've been saving it for sharing with you guys. Well, we're going to enjoy it. You don't get to enjoy it, just so we're clear here.
And it lets us toast Zephyr being back on the bus.
And Mel and Linda for believing in us and supporting us. So I'm going to let you open that.
Okay. Do you have the thing with the foil cutter? And the,
yes.
Yeah. Helps. I can gnaw at it. Make better
pop.
video.
Show off the cork pop.
Cork pop. We love them. It cuts the foil, and then it just shoots the corks right out. Okay, there's the foil off. So it's like you're stabbing a vampire in the heart. You put it through the cork, and then you just press a little bit of compressed gas in, and you have wine. And then you just twist it, and the cork is off. So you could open, I think, probably 30 bottles of wine a minute with this if you're just like... Wonderful invention. Highly recommend the cork pot.
So this is from... It's a Sangiovese... I can't pronounce that.
From Paso Robles, Estrella District, and Pianeta Winery. So tradition, flavor, and quality.
I'm assuming that they locked up the really good bottles. So this is the one we've been saving. They've all been really good.
Yes.
So
yes.
Welcome back to Zephyr.
Welcome back to Zephyr. We are on a bus. We're a 3-family household. We're a 3-house family. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's awesome. I'm gonna let that breathe a little bit. And I'm going to go and find some questions to answer. Oh, before we get into questions, 2 things coming up that are very, very exciting. One is this week is Full-Time Freedom Week, which is a free online rally, basically.
Yeah, it's... how many hosts are there?
There's over 30 of us that have contributed video clips talking about a variety of RVing topics. We're talking about thinking outside the box. Right on topic for us about
boats
having
and
different
buses and vans,
is not thinking, having that nomadic lifestyle is about any style of travel. But it's free to attend live, and it starts on November 5th and goes through November 8th. There is a link in the description to it. It is an affiliate link if you do buy the upgraded pass to watch it anytime. We do get a kickback, but that's not why we're sharing.
Yeah, so it's a cool event, and like there's several of these events that do this, where it's like you watch live completely. If you're interactive and you can have fun, and they have some actually the events are actually happening live with real chats and stuff. And if you want to be able to watch it again later, or you miss some of the talks that you want, then you buy the little playback pass basically. So cool. This is I guess their third year doing it, or second.
This is their third.
Third, yeah. So we know the people who put this on. They've done a really good job of doing this. This year they've gotten even bigger and more ambitious, and they're actually having a live component of it going on
down in Galveston, which we almost went to, but we decided instead to take a monthly spot because we might need to go travel back for some family stuff.
Yeah. So family comes first, and we got some family medical things that we might need to deal with. So we're missing out on. So anybody who's hoping to see us at the Full Time Freedom Week live, sorry, we missed you. We were hoping to be there.
But also coming up, November 17th is the premiere of The RVers. This is the television show that we are co-hosts of with the RV Geeks, Peter and John, and Morton's on the Move, Tom and Kate. And that comes on at 8 a.m. Eastern on Discovery Channel. And we will be in Fredericksburg, Texas. Assuming family doesn't interrupt that. And then we will be, Peter and John are flying in for it, and there's a special guest coming here as well. And we'll be having a watch party here as part of the RV Entrepreneur Meetup. This is not a big summit like we spoke at 2 years ago.
They might even be able to make those chocolate chip pancakes and omelets and stuff for that.
They could.
Yeah, this campground has a delivery of breakfast, so, hey.
Yeah. So that is coming up. Make sure your calendars are marked for that. We will actually be putting out a video and blog post hopefully later this week. I will be interviewing the producer, Anthony Nally, and talking about how you as an RVer can view Discovery Channel
live without having to go through crazy hoops. So yeah, we've got all the tricks of how to watch Discovery Channel without having cable or DirecTV or Dish. So that'll be coming out as well.
All right. I'm going to go find some questions in here.
Okay.
Oh, the most important one. Sabina would like to know, where's Kiki? Kiki is nap time right now. She's back in bed. Kiki.
Yeah. We will grab her before the end of this for her cat cameo. I think that's mandatory.
Okay. Oh, we reflect a classier nomadic life.
There's all sorts of nomadic life,
lives.
and that's actually the important thing to remember. There's no formula, and there's no one way to do it. You don't have to be... And actually, even if you start off on one direction, you can change your mind and your own style, and that's part of what's kept it fresh for us for so long, is we've changed it up so much.
Yep. Okay, so Tina would like to know, how do costs compare boat life expenses versus Zephyr for a year of traveling? And we have done videos on both individually before, and we'll probably, after the end of this season, do some comparative. But we find monthly spots in both the RV and the boat to be very similar. In the boat, we love monthly marina stays. They usually cost us somewhere between $600 and $1,000 a month, which is about what we spend if we're doing RV parks in the RV. Fuel cost wise, yes, the fuel economy on the boat is like 1.8 to 2 miles per gallon,
but we don't drive that much.
We don't do more than 100 to 150 miles in a month. So the fuel costs are about equal because we're spending the same amount of hours.
It would be interesting. Actually, I would not be surprised if the van, the boat, and the bus fuel all works out to be about the same per month. What we spend per month for fuel probably doesn't change. It's just on the van we're going to cover more miles. On the bus, middle, and the boat, the fewest. So it's So the number of miles we do is inverse to the fuel economy, basically. Right.
And that's not just really just an economy of scale. It's just like, that's what each one is designed for, is we look at the boat as a condo on water, and we're loving staying in marinas that are in downtown. So we walk off our boat and we're in amazing places, and we want to be there a while. And nightly marina stays are ridiculously stupidly expensive. It's working out. I think it's going to be very similar. I mean,
we'll do some more analysis once there's more
data to go on.
And I think the boat, it's got more costs to maintain and stuff like that. So boat, it's got 2 engines, it's bigger, it's got, sitting in salt water all the time, it never sits still, it's always in motion.
I mean, just look at an oil change, okay? We just had the oil changed on Zephyr, we had the oil changed on Copernicus, the van, and we're having the oil changed on the boat right now. Well, it will be by the time we get back to it. On the van, $52 for synthetic oil at a run-of-the-mill
oil place.
The bus, I think all in all, when I separated out the bill from the tires, I think it came out to about $300. Well, the oil, it was 10 gallons of oil. It takes 8 gallons of oil for this engine. That was about 300, and then an hour or two of labor. So yeah, then about $400 is what we pay for an oil change on the bus, and we could do it ourselves, but we don't because we're lazy. It's so much easier.
It's a mess.
It's messy. It's easier to do in a shop.
Yes.
The boat, the first time we did an oil change, it was and that was transmission, so that's not really fair. We did one because we did
ourselves. Yeah.
We did our own oil change, the second one, and between the oil and everything else, it's actually about the cost of the bus.
Yeah. Because the boat, it's actually fairly easy to do our own oil change if it's just the engine oil. But we on the boat we've got so much more stuff to maintain. So there's all that. Do you want to see this one? What do we miss most from the boat? Some silly wabbit.
So yeah, you can pick questions. That's great. What do we miss most about the boat? My bathtub.
Yeah, the bathtub.
Separate rooms.
Having more floors, more space, more rooms, and it is more condo-y. The boat, having been back in the tiny van for a while, the bus feels big too, and it does have a separate front and back, and we can divvy things up, but it is not quite as spacious. In some ways, actually, because the bus has a double desk, so we both have full
Better
desks
workspace
here. Full workspaces with office chairs. On the boat, we only have a single desk office.
So we haven't figured out what to do with the second one yet.
Yes, and actually on the van, we've kind of, in some ways, we just did a little thing on this. So the video we did, the 4 monitor setup is probably a better setup for just lots of screens looming down on you for productive multi-screen work than either of them actually. but that's only for one person at a time on the van.
Other things I miss about the boat. Dolphins. I am so missing water life in general. Is just like when we're cruising, the cruising in a boat is just it's 99% just tranquil and amazing. You're moving at 8 knots. You got dolphins. You've got lots of nature around you. And yeah, I like the slower pace of boating life.
Yeah, traffic is, driving in traffic and twisty roads and stuff is not nearly as fun. But driving out on big open Texas secondary highways, because our bus loves to cruise at 55. It's happy at 55. It can do 60. It can do 65. Not so happy. It purrs at 55. So you find those roads where that's a good comfortable speed, big shoulders. No need to stress about your steering. In the boat, the bus is almost as fun as the boat to drive in those cases for me.
Okay, take a question.
Sure.
Did your 4106 air system have any leaks after in storage? And we did have at least one air leak that the bus shop did fix. We had the governor swapped out because that's a common place for air leaks to be. That's something you should swap out every so often anyway.
And they found one hose that was leaking.
But we seem to be holding air pressure pretty well. So.
And yeah. But there will always be air leaks on an old bus. It's just you'll never have something that's perfectly airtight. Let's see.
So Nikki and Jason say they spend about 40 hours per week maintaining their boat. Do you spend the same? Oh, heck no.
Oh, goodness.
If it was 40 hours a week, and I don't think they really do either. I think they're exaggerating. If we really spent that, if it was that much maintenance, it would not be fun. It would not be worth the effort. No, the maintenance on a boat is not that much of a...
I mean, if you count as part of the maintenance, like doing dishes and laundry and making the bed, that's like life maintenance. But it all kind of blends together. But
yeah,
in general, day-to-day life, there's not a ton to do in any of these vehicles. I mean, they're all
We do safety checks on all of them before we start off for a day. We check the fluids. You do your preventative maintenance. The boat needs to be hauled out every so often and have the bottom redone. That's part of what will be done before we get back. But no, it hasn't been that bad. Someone wants to know, do we rent our RV lot to others when not in use? Do you think it's a good income stream to do so? So the RV lot that we purchased is in the Escapee Saguaro Co-op. So it's part of a co-op, and we just purchased a lease to it. So it's all of a cooperative thing. So when we're not on it, it's in a central rental pool that goes to the community for upkeep of the RV park. Right. And we get a credit on our maintenance fees every year. So no, it is not an income stream. We cannot rent it out individually to other people. So no, we don't have that sort of flexibility.
No, but
with
it does keep our costs very low for
Right.
having that, and then that is always a base for the bus to be.
Right, but we know lots of people who buy in a commercial RV park that sells lots, and then they can individually rent out and have an income stream off of that. But no,
Right.
we chose the co-op model. It was a lot cheaper to get in, gives us a community to be part of, and we love the escapees. So we love the community embodiment that they have. So
I'm going to call on Captain Sterling Kennedy, pointing out that the only thing more expensive than boating is airplanes. And indeed, I know that to be true. That's why I don't have an airplane, even though I have my pilot's license, because I really almost bought an airplane at one point in my life, and I just realized I couldn't afford it. But
and I just saw that Sterling Lady just got put on the hard until May.
Yeah, so they have a cool boat.
They have a beautiful manatee.
And let's see. Oh, that was that rental question there. Bing. Any other questions here? I think we're catching up.
Okay, so George would like to know, do we anticipate similar battery issues when we return to the boat? So the boat is in storage, yes, but it is outside with solar. So
Yes.
unless the sun goes out for a week, I mean, totally out, the batteries are going to remain charged. We are plugged in at the
Yes.
marina that we're at.
And it's at a staffed marina, so
if we
there's
notice,
any issues,
we
we could just say,
we just
hey,
call them and say, hey guys, go aboard, reset this button, and we have remote access to it as well. And
Right.
it's a much smarter EMS system that with Battleborn. So
right. Yeah, so the boat has Battleborn, which has benefited from all the things that have been learned from our long history of doing things. As batteries have gotten a lot better, a lot smarter, a lot better able to take care of themselves.
And there was a question what we're going to put on the bus, and yes, we more than likely will be going with Battleborn 2 on the bus. We really like the system we put on the boat, and we like them as a company.
Yes, and we like working with them. We've been kind of behind the scenes advisors in some of the stuff they're working on, and we think it's some pretty cool stuff. So yeah.
So how much travel miles and how much time are you anticipating on the bus this time? So we would like to attend our village rally in middle February, which is back in Florida. So, and then we want to do annual bash with the escapers. These are all intentions. Do not make your plans around them to come see us there.
Sometimes we change plans.
We do change plans, but those are intentions. So we're gonna get the bus out to Arizona to our lot. Probably spend the holidays there, and then we're gonna do some desert boondocking before the escapers annual bash, which is in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Then get the bus back into its lot in Arizona, and then take the van back cross country to the Our Village rally in middle February, and then we'll probably be back aboard the bus. I would say by
boat.
Oh, sorry,
Boat.
boat.
B words. We gotta.
By March.
We call it a ship, maybe, or
Yeah, maybe so.
yes, I don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got 3 months ahead of us in the bus and with the van and convoy, and yeah, it should be. I would say we'll probably do about 2,000 miles in total in the bus this season.
Yeah. Yeah, not a ton. Just enough to shake it all around. And
So when are we coming to Houston? And unfortunately, with our plans of not going to Galveston this week for the Full-Time
Yes.
Freedom Week thing, due to needing to be on call for family, we will not be coming down to the Houston
yeah,
area.
well, we'll be passing through Houston probably on our way back.
Maybe.
In
I try to
February.
avoid Houston in general.
Yes, true. Yes, but we who knows what we'll be doing come February. We have to get back to Florida, so Houston's kind of a big roadblock, kind of like Atlanta. It's one of these big things that are hard to route around sometimes. I'll give a quick answer to Frank B here, who asked what streaming software we're using. We're using Ecamm, which does these really cool little pop-up overlays and stuff. And when it works, it usually works really, really well. Yeah. It's actually Ecamm we're very happy with.
YouTube Live is...
YouTube on there.
YouTube has been changing all their stuff on the creator side of stuff. And every single time I log into YouTube to do something, to upload a video, to manage comments, or do a live stream, they've changed something, and usually not for the better.
And also I noticed when I was just fighting to get the live to come live here today, they have a thing saying, be ready for the new creator, blah, 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 broadcast platform coming October 30th. I'm like, okay, so clearly you missed your own rollout, or you're telling us to be ready for next year. I don't know, but YouTube, get your act together, please. It makes this should be easy, and you make some things like going live hard. Glad we were able to do it. It's pretty cool. It's I know there's a lot of server work happening.
There's a question about the nomadic RV community is pretty environmentally and downsizing conscious. You now have 3 vehicles, 2 of which are huge pollutants.
Well,
Curious what your thoughts are on
well,
that.
actually, both all of our vehicles are used and are major. You can think of them as major recycling here. So we're keeping something.
From going to a junkyard where
Yes.
they're all of ours were purchased used. We're bringing them and keeping them on the road. We have minimal miles, so the pollutants
Right.
are really minimal, and they're all designed to be off-grid, solar capable. And water usage, I mean, as far as living in a sticks and bricks house and the water usage and the carbon footprint, we think anyone who moves into a boat or an RV is already more environmentally
Very often, yeah.
very much so.
But and also just in the RV world in general, there are some people who are very, very eco, and there are some people who could care less. We're more on the eco side of things, but we're not. We've never been extremists and stuff. We are very conscious of our use. We're conscious. We make decisions keeping things in mind, but our focus is on
Quality of life.
and
And having positive impacts on the world instead of negatives. And there's pros and cons to everything and every choice you make. But do we identify as environmentalists? Not strongly. But we try to make environmental decisions and try to make the best decision. It is definitely one of the criteria that we use when making a decision.
Yes. And
but we use less than 400 gallons of water a month.
and we use minimal fuel because we try to minimize our amount of driving and stuff that we do. And and we haul around recycling and do the best we can everywhere we go. So, and our bus is one big giant aluminum can that we are saving from a landfill. So.
Yes. And keeping your beauty.
Yes.
On the road and
recycling old things. I'll answer this one. It's kind of referencing our internet side of things. They're asking how Frank is asking how the Pepwave Max Transit is working out. We're actually broadcasting over it. We have the van, which has the Pepwave Max Transit Duo and the pointing 7-in-1 antenna.
Because we haven't had time to uninstall things.
Yeah, so we parked the van right in front of the bus. So the van is our mobile hotspot, and we're broadcasting via that. We're bonding together Verizon and AT&T signal simultaneously here. And so, this is some really cool, neat hardware that we're using. And thanks, Live and Light sent it to us for review. Thank you guys.
But we're doing a full review for our work side of our life at the Mobile Internet Resource Center, mobileinternetinfo.com, and we have a separate channel for that. So anything internet related.
We tend not to answer internet questions on Technomatic, but just letting you know that's what we're broadcasting via, and it is working really well.
Yep.
This wine is superb.
So, Silly White Boats know, are outings from the bus similar to outings from the boat, i.e. exploring around your destinations? So that is a major difference between boating and RVing for us, is there are more marinas close to things that you can explore on foot than there are RV parks that you can do so. But we're finding some cool ones, like Little Rock we stopped in at the Riverside RV Park, which was great.
One of the best located RV parks we've ever been to is the Little Rock downtown RV park.
But a lot of places are, you need to have some sort of transport to go explore stuff around where RVs are.
Yeah, like where we are now, it's 11 miles to town, which is it's not a big distance, but we actually I can put that up on our eco checklist. Is we prefer to go someplace and then not drive unless we really have to, like maybe go out for groceries once a week or something like that, and just do everything on foot or bike or whatnot. And it's a lot easier on the boat than it is in the bus and RVing in general.
That's what the van serves a purpose of. It is our daily driver from both the bus and the boat, and then the shuttlecraft in between. And
we love that the van gives us the opportunity because it can go into regular parking lots and fits in a regular parking spot. So that is great. The van is good, but it's not the greatest let's go run downtown vehicle, but it does the job.
Captain Sterling wants to know, do we find the boating community more friendly than the RV community?
Yeah, I think they're both can be very friendly in different ways.
You can encounter a wide range of people in both communities.
Yes.
Just like you do in any walk of lifestyle. Some people are really super friendly and helpful. Others not so much.
Yeah. It may maybe be a longer conversation just to talk about like the differences we've observed between them, because there are differences in the communities, but there are also great richnesses to both. I love both the RVing and boating communities.
To me, anyone who chooses a mobile lifestyle already has something cool about them. I mean, something that took you to the choice to even come here to watch our videos
Right.
if you're in process of it. I
Right.
mean, you're already thinking outside of normal boxes, and that seems something is cool going on that is awesome.
And I guess actually, the bigger difference might be between the weekender communities versus the full timer communities, whether boating or RVing. The people who are full time tend to have a lot more into it, whereas the people who are just doing it for a weekend, they've got got their party boat they're going out in, or they're just RVing for the weekend to hit a few campgrounds or a national park. They're not in it for the community. They're not there to be social in a sense. So they're often completely oblivious to connecting with other people.
Do we plan to visit any bus rallies this season? And I don't know of any that's on our radar.
Yeah. So if somebody knows of any bus rallies in Benson, Arizona area, let us know. Maybe we'll swing by.
Yeah, we're past our years of traveling to places too much or committing to things. We like to have the minimal amount of commitments in our schedule. Frederick was wondering, will we both be as committed to this lifestyle in our elder lives? We're already older, aren't we?
I don't know. I mean, this lifestyle feels sustainable. It feels like something that really has no end to it. I love the variety of it all because something gets dull in one direction, you just mix it up and change it around. There's no set formula to what we're doing. We've changed everything about it over and over and over
Many
again.
times. We're committed to the lifestyle of having maximum quality of life. Let's just say that. And whatever that looks like at any point is what we'll do. That might mean we settle down or get a home base at some point. Maybe not. Or maybe we continue RVing and boating, or maybe just boating, or maybe just RVing, or maybe a Zeppelin.
Maybe I finally get the Zeppelin I'm looking for, and hopefully not too expensive to operate. It's... As we go, Frank wants to know, is living on a bus cheaper than living in a home for us? And really, our expenses, since both of us going nomadic, our expenses went down from our fixed lives. I used to live in San Francisco with high cost of living. Living on the road was so much cheaper than the cost of living there.
Definitely. But you have to keep in mind that we both were solo when we met. So
Yes.
I owned a home in Florida. He owned a home in San Francisco. We met on the road, and our entire relationship has been on the road and combining expenses. So it's really hard to put it side by side. But I do say that our combined traveling lifestyle is cheaper than any one of our prior stationary lifestyles. Mm-hmm. But we also had high cost of living lifestyles. We commuted. We had houses I was beachside. You were in downtown San Francisco. Yes. We weren't exactly living minimally back then.
Yeah, well, in San Francisco, there's no such thing. It's expensive to live there. And that was, 13 years ago before it's gone completely haywire now. Oh, my God. That's an interesting question from the Fryway of, do we have all three set up to walk, live, so they're ready to go? And we're trying to keep that pretty much the way, so that we have minimal stuff to move between them, and we're getting there. There's a few things to still further optimize.
Still, this is kind of our first season of doing this transition between three vehicles. Still ironing a lot of stuff out, figuring out what goes on what can be transported between all three. Like my workstation, I have a Mac Mini with a 24-inch 4K Retina screen. Well, we found a way to transport that in the van so that I have that same workstation and setup in each of our homes. So that I'm thinking to duplicate. Some things make sense to duplicate, some things don't, and we're figuring that out right now. But yeah, we do want it to be fairly minimal so it's not a huge transition between each.
We have a super chat from Spell Madame. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And she wants to know, did it matter if your Class B was gasoline or diesel, and they're eyeing the Winnebago Bolt? And actually for us, it didn't really matter.
No, the layout was the most important feature for us. We were looking for something very specific that'd be comfortable for camping trips off of the boat, and something that would be comfortable for a prolonged trip out to the bus. Now, I don't think we'll always take 3 months to do the trip,
right?
But it was awesome for that.
Yeah, that we love the layout of the Winnebago G, that the Travado G, that really fits our needs for a van. And vans, particularly because you're working in such small space, there's so many trade-offs. There's find the layout that fits you and feels like home for you. And the gas versus diesel question is really just kind of a side effect. I'd really actually have zero preference. I'd ideally love it to be electric, but there's no Tesla vans yet, so I'll have to give it a few more years.
Yeah. So no, diesel versus gas was. If you go back and look at we did a live cast actually back in February or March, and a blog post to go along with it, where we went down our criteria, and you'll see that diesel versus gas was really, really low on the list of things that were considerations for us. It was all about the overall package.
Right. And because and particularly at bus scale and big RV scale, a diesel can make a huge difference in both longevity of the engine and fuel economy. But at van scale, it's not a huge difference. The longevity and the fuel economy is not going to be nearly as dramatic of a difference. But if we were buying something the size of the bus again, or certainly the size of the boat, the diesel would be the way to go. Gene asks if we had electric bikes. We do. We had to leave them behind on the boat.
Yeah, we could not come up with a bike rack system for the van in time. Because remember, it was kind of chaotic with the hurricane evacuation in the middle of all this. So we couldn't take them with us. But
particularly because the e-bikes we have, the e-Joes, wouldn't work with a normal rack just because of the way they've got the big kind of square frame and stuff. So we couldn't figure that out.
Right. Those electric bikes were bought specifically to fold up into the bays of this bus. They weren't really designed. We didn't pick them for transporting in a normal bike carrier. So what we're looking for now is the right bike rack system for the van that will always be the carrier for our bike. And then getting probably full-size electric bikes that then can be used, because the van will pretty much be with us when the boat, we can put the bikes on the boat for when we're traveling on the boat without the van, and then have it with us on van life, and then when the van will always be with us when we're on the bus.
Yeah. So we're looking for 2 new bikes. Our e-Joes aged fairly poorly, particularly in the marine environment. So we're looking for things that are built well enough to handle being around salt air a lot, and will be our new full-time electric bikes. And so that's on our project list. Maybe this winter we'll find new ones.
We're getting a lot of complaints about the audio and video being out of sync.
Hey, YouTube, maybe they're rolling out those new improvements that were coming October 30th. So, I don't know, maybe we're close to wrapping this up then, if this is...
Yep.
Yeah, actually I see things are kind of a little bit slow motion on the thing.
So I think we've been going for about an hour anyway, so it's probably a good time to wrap it up anyway. So thank you so much for joining us. We will have a produced video out about getting Zephyr out of storage. We have a lot of wrap up content to come from. We still have at least another boating episode, a travelogue. And but anyway, so yeah, we will have also some content out to view the RVers.
Okay, and so we'll end with our little loop that we started with that Sheree put together today. Some of the footage of our boat, our van, and coming across country, and the very first footage of Zephyr coming out of storage. But until now,
thank you for joining in. We'll see you next time.
And thank you for joining us. Oh, and apparently we're back in sync,
Okay.
but no, we're still ending here. Let's go to